Hello and welcome, my name is Boneless and today I'm gonna show you a really fun and potentially strong build on Dazzle. So, before I go any further, I want to see if you're as confused as this anti-mage is right now. So, what is going on? This Mars is somehow still alive. And now the anti-mage is, I guess, feeding to the Juggernaut, and now he's pinging, and he's still confused. He still doesn't know what's going on. So let's look at the same clip, but from my point of view. So what I'm doing, I'm playing as the Dazzle. So what I'm doing is I'm using Arcane Blink together with a bunch of cooldown reduction. I'm using Octarine, and I'm using obviously max level Bad Juju, which is my ultimate. And then you also need one of the two neutral items that gives you cooldown reduction. So that would be either Spell Prism or Quickening Charm. But if you do get to this point, you can actually just keep using Arcane Blink, which has a 4-second cooldown. And then you can keep using that, engraving someone, and you can do that for days. They can literally never die if you get to this point, which is so funny. So I have a bunch of clips to show you. I'm just gonna go to the next clip. So, is this actually good, or is it like a meme? I don't know. It's if you get to this point, it actually feels so strong. Like look at this. It's actually ridiculous. So what you want to do is be out of vision and do this. All the extra range you get on your you have a talent that gives range, and you have obviously the Ether Lens from Octarine that gives range. It allows you to just stay really far back and keep graving. You could be out of vision. You could be in the trees preferably, or you can be like on the high ground. Even this is bad. I didn't even have to go out there to show myself. So you could say that if they I'm immortal. This guy is so fucking funny. It's just some random Russian Wraith King I found in a pub, you know? But he's smack talking in all chat. It's good. It's good shit. But you could say that if the enemies were better, they would have hunted me in the trees, so I couldn't do this. But you know, I have a blink on a 4-second cooldown, and I'm staying in the trees. And even if they try to hunt me down, I can juke for days, and you know, even if they do kill me, then they spend a lot of the team fights just hunting a Dazzle in the background. Maybe that's not how they win a team fight anyway. So if you get to this point, I think it's really strong. But the thing is, you're not always gonna get all these items. I mean, sometimes the game is just gonna end before we get to this point, and sometimes you're not gonna get one of the two neutral items that you need. There's like a 40% chance you'll get Spell Prism, a 40% chance that you'll get the Quickening Charm, and you're not always gonna get to this point, obviously. So you'll get them in more than half of the games. But combined with the fact that sometimes the game just doesn't last this long, then I think it was like 1 in 4 games I played, maybe 1 in 5 games I played, that I actually got to this point. So it's not that reliable in that sense. But here's the thing. Even if it's not always you get to this point, the build is just strong no matter what. Like, these items, you get Ether Lens and Blink. And then you obviously have your Guardian Greaves and a Midas if you go for Midas. So these are probably items that I would go for on a Dazzle anyway. So I'm gonna get back to the items, but right now I want to show you some good things and some bad things in this clip. So first of all, positioning is very important. Even this Poison Touch, where I go a little bit too much forward, it's questionable. But you know, I'm pretty farmed and I can stay on the high ground. Now, this is better. Stay on the high ground, out of vision, as much as possible. And then you'll see I do some good things, and I do some pretty reportable things. Like this. I'm sure everyone saw it, but just in case you didn't, I think I'll slow it again and just a little bit. So what I wanted to do, obviously, I wanted to blink grave the PA. But because they were clumped up together, I accidentally hit the punch. So when they're clumped up together, obviously you do wanna click grave on the little icon on the top of the screen. I think some people do this every time. I find that when I have to use Blink Grave, it's sometimes easier to hit people like on their actually heroes. But when they're clumped up like this, there's no excuse. I definitely should have clicked on the top. So instead I've ended up graving this Pudge, which has 3,500 HP and an active BKB, by the way. So, but you know, because of all the cooldown reduction, and I did manage to get some heals in after I realized I fucked up. So I got some heals in on the PA, and then because of all the cooldown reduction, I could heal PA. I could grave PA one more time. So here in the late game, what you want to do: stay in the back, stay in the trees, blink Hex, like here. I think this Wind Ranger got surprised that the PA had Mindbreaker, obviously, something like this. So you just want to blink in, do your thing, and get out. So either you blink in Hex, walk away, or you blink in Grave, walk away. And that's the entire playstyle of the late game. It's not even at this point so much about the Guardian Greaves anymore. Obviously you could still use it. But blink in Hex. And by the way, this guy, if you noticed, I can Hex from really far away. I was the one who hexed the Night Stalker here. And then the Juggernaut buyback, and now we get to the good stuff, where I just keep graving this PA. So, what I could have done better, I mean my main job is to keep the PA alive, I'm doing that. Midas in the middle of the fight, very important. But what I could have done, I also have a Hex on a, I think 7-second cooldown or something ridiculous. I also could have clicked that a bit more. I think it hexed twice in this fight, but I could have done a lot more, obviously. So, good things and bad things. But, it feels like this build is just strong when you get to this point. It's... yeah. So, let's talk about counters real quick. So, the biggest counters is obviously Axe and OD. I think these are common counters to Dazzle. Axe, obviously, especially when you rely on Grave like I do. Axe is just gonna cut through the Grave. He's just gonna kill people even though they're graved. Not fun. OD is gonna Astral Imprisonment, which is very annoying because you can't grave twice after the Astral Imprisonment. So, I believe you can still use Guardian Greaves to heal them, and then you can grave them once they come out of Astral Imprisonment. Alright, but other counters, I have basically just a bunch of guys who are very good at finding you in the tree line and hunting you down and killing you. Very annoying to play against. Night Stalker, Storm, and Pango. When you have Guardian Greaves, which is something I buy every game, then you actually have a tool to remove Orchid from Storm. So that's very helpful, but nevertheless, it is still annoying to play against heroes that are really good at hunting you down in the tree line. I think, according to Dota buff, the biggest counters to Dazzle is Phantom Lancer, AA Morphling, Pango Monkey. Pango and Monkey King, same like I already explained, they're very good at finding you in the back. The Phantom Lancer Morphling, just very annoying, hard to kill, they can really hunt you if they want to. And the AA, funnily enough, he is considered a counter because he cancels out all the heal that you do if he hits his ulti. But the funny thing is, if I can get this Permagrave thing up and running against an AA, then Dazzle is actually the only hero in the game that can save people from the AA ulti when they are below the threshold. So that's a little bit funny. According to Dota buff, Dazzle counters Centaur, Red King, Pudge, Visage, Spectra. I mean, Spectra I feel is a little bit of a double-edged sword because again I want to be out of vision, stay in the trees. So when Spectra ults, it's a bit annoying. He can just ult and kill you. This is also one of the reasons why I really think Hex is a good item on this sort of Dazzle. Because when Spectra ulties, you can just click Hex, and then you can actually get rid of the illusion before the Spectra finds you and kills you. You should be able to click your Hex on the illusion faster than he can pinpoint you and jump to you. So a little bit of fun fact there. Anyway, when we get to the items, I think I'll start something like this. Well, maybe not like this. I'll start like this. Get some Tangos, you know, some Clarities, maybe like Fairy Fire if I need to. But then I'll get some Boots of Speed, probably some more Tangos, and then I'll get right into Midas, usually. There's like three items you can go for in the beginning of the game, in my opinion. If you're getting stomped completely, or if you're really far behind, and then Midas is maybe not a good idea. I mean, I think it's still debatable, because even if you're losing, if you do get a Midas, then you don't have to kill another creep for the entire game. Then the Midas is just gonna give you some impact anyway. But you know, in the beginning of the game, I do favor Midas. I'm sure some people will disagree, but I think it's good. Alternatively, you can get a Necrobook as your first item, or you can get a Meteor Hammer as your first item. The idea behind the Meteor Hammer is, well, first of all, these three items is just to help you boost farm, basically. The idea behind Meteor Hammer is that you could do one of two things. You can... I have a clipper. With a Meteor Hammer, either you can, you know, if you have, obviously this game we're just stomping. We were against it. I'm actually position 4 and I still have a Meteor Hammer at 10 minutes. So we were obviously stomping the safe flame. Anti-mage went jungle. Very sad. So this is the first thing you can do with the Meteor Hammer. You can just kill a neutral camp stack very easily. And it's pretty good, actually. So that's one thing, one way to use a Meteor Hammer. Otherwise, you can pressure towers, obviously. So when you pressure towers with a Meteor Hammer on Dazzle, there's like two directions you can go in. If you're stomping like this, you just go to all the tier 1 towers and kill them with Meteor Hammer. If it's a bit harder game, then the thing is you can just always stay on the off lane. Never leave the off lane and just stay in the trees, Meteor Hammer the waves and Meteor Hammer the tier 2 tower. Just be very annoying. This way you're just gonna get a lot of space for your carry to farm in, because you're gonna take the quote-unquote hard farm, and you're gonna... I mean, even if they get you, it's like a split pushing Shadow Shaman. Even if they kill you, it's sometimes still okay. But in this game, we are just completely destroying. You see, I'm already pinging the tier 2 tower, because I just want to keep pushing towers. And believe it or not, in this game, I'm also really trying to to get as much building damage as possible, just for the fun of it. But I have 12,000 building damage in this game. The closest is like Juggernaut, who has, I think, maybe 7,000 building damage or something. And this is all from Meteor Hammer. So anyway, this is just all a really roundabout way of saying that Meteor Hammer is a thing you should consider on Dazzle as your first item. Anyway, so the last item you could consider is Necrobook. Just like with Midas and Meteor Hammer, I think this should be, if this is your direction, this should be the first item you go for, because it falls off really, the Necrobook. It's better the earlier you can get it. So Necrobook is a bit hard to get on a position 4 or 5. I mean, it's doable. Obviously, it's just gonna take a bit longer. If you're playing a core Dazzle, it's a lot easier to get Necrobook in a timing where it really just messes with the enemy team. So I think I have, yeah, in this game I think I went for Necrobook after Midas, and it already felt bad because one, it's a little bit too late, 22 minutes to get your Necro 3, and then I mean it's okay, but I think I should definitely go Necrobook instead of the Midas in this case. So in this game, some of my teammates were, well, we're against some Invis, you should maybe get a Necro, and I was like, alright, I'll get a Necro, whatever. But then I realized that the Riki is not even good for spotting Riki, because the Riki with a Battle Fury, which he goes for nowadays, he's just gonna shred the Necrobook in 1 second with his E, I think it is, you know. So it's not a good item against Riki anyway. Against Bounty Hunter, it's kinda nice, can keep track of things. So, but the bigger thing about Necro is that you wanna buy it in a game where you have a feeling that you can have some enemy sides of the jungle where you can farm with the Necro. You want to take the difficult farm with Necro. If you just buy a Necro 3 and then you go farm your own jungle where your carry is also farming, then it's not good. You can have the Necros go for a walk in your jungle just to deward. You can have them go for a walk anyway to deward. It's very good for that. But you don't want to take your carry's farm with the Necro. Then it's definitely not worth it. You want to go to the enemy jungle and pressure top lane, pressure their jungle, and farm up their camps with the Necrobook. And the last thing I want to say about Necrobook is that with Poison Touch, you can actually refresh your Poison Touch with your Necro minions. So this is also why it's really good to get early, because it's gonna really mess with people in the early game. So, to get back on the items, I want to get either Necrobook or Midas or Hammer. Usually, it's gonna sound strange, but usually I think Midas is just a safer choice. And a lot of people go, oh, you're gonna go Midas on a position 5 or 4. Well, first of all, if you do go Midas on position 5 Dazzle, I think it should be, you should think about this, and you should have a carry that can actually go jungle pretty early, so you can actually farm up the safe lane. Kick out the safe lane from the safe lane and put him in the jungle. He's gonna be fine if it's like a Wraith King or someone else from the jungle. And then you can have the safe farm for a little bit. You will need a little bit of space to finish the Midas. But I think it's worth it, because this Dazzle that I'm making obviously needs a lot of items, and I also need a lot of levels. And the hidden bonus about Midas on Dazzle is, well, also there's a lot of cooldown reduction on Midas on Dazzle, so that makes it better obviously. But the hidden bonus is that Dazzle has this 50 damage talent, and that together with Midas that gives I think 40 attack speed, that's actually a lot of your damage in the early game. Like you legitimately right click for a lot of damage with Poison Touch and just hunting people down with the 50 talent damage talent and the Midas. The rest of the talents, I would always go the 50 damage. You don't need mana regen when you're always going for Guarding Greaves like me. The 150 cast range, I would always take that. Then you have the Poison Touch talent on 20 and 25. I think I would prefer these if I feel like the game is in a place where I can actually Poison Touch the enemy team. Obviously, if you can never really Poison Touch them, or if they can just remove it instantly, if they have like a Legion Commander or something, then obviously it's not so good. You can never go wrong with the movement speed. When it comes to defending against Mega Creeps, then the 20 talent 36 Poison Touch DPS, that's actually how you deal with Mega Creeps. So, back to the items. So I would get something like stick, boots, and then I will... Actually, you don't even have to upgrade your wand. That's even wrong. I would get stick, a couple of branches, some tangos, and then I'll get boots, and then I'll get right into the Midas, usually. And then afterwards, I would just go straight in for Guarding Greaves. And then you have, I think, if either way, it's still good to just have either lens, Blink Dagger on Dazzle. Like, it's never bad to get these items anyway. So it's gonna look something like this, and then I think the correct choice is probably to pick up a Hex at this point before you go into the Octarine and Arcane Blink. But you know, if you want to go full YOLO, you don't have to. You just go for your thing. But the correct choice is probably to go Hex here, and then after Hex, then you upgrade this to an Octarine Core, and you upgrade this to an Arcane Blink, and then you have all you need to go for the Permagrave. Other items to consider. I mean, something like Linken's is incredibly funny. Like, Linken's has, let's see how much cooldown reduction we have here. Linken's is 3.69 cooldown. So this is good for when you're juking in the trees, but it's actually also good for when you are, you know, pushing high ground. It's actually a pushing item, because you can keep putting Linken's on your carry, like, every 3.69 seconds. And also, the same with, like, Lotus Orb, right? Lotus Orb is usually 15 seconds, but when you put it on your hero, it's gonna be 4.6 seconds. And applying Lotus Orb is actually it lasts for 6 seconds, right? So you can actually have Lotus Orb on 2 different heroes. I mean, there's so many good choices of items you can go for with all this cooldown reduction, which is also why I feel like a farming item on Dazzle is the best way to go. If I don't go for something like this, then I maybe go in the direction of more like healing. So if your build looks something like this is probably my go-to anyway. But if my build looks something like this, you can upgrade this to a Holy Locket, and then if you want to go all in the healing, you can even get Axe for even more healing. I mean, and with this, there's some games where you just end the game because you have a Dazzle with Guardian Graves, you have a Luna, you have a Beastmaster or something. Beastmaster Dazzle offlane is really good, like or a Brewmaster Dazzle is also a really good lane, like I showed before. So this healing thing is really good for just pushing high ground. Other than that, I think these would be the items I go for. Actually, when it comes to the Aghanim, it's not really about the healing. It's more for the memes. Aghanim Scepter, the reason you get this is if you need this Soft Dispel, which can be really strong. So Soft Dispel, it removes Silence, Roots, Fear, debuffs. It does not remove Stun. So you need a Hard Dispel for that. It's only like a Baton Shield or something like this. Hard removal, Hard Dispel, that can remove stuns. Otherwise it would be broken. But what you can remove is Sticky Napalm, Gale Poison, Sting, Nightmare, Battle Hunger, Decryptify, Ignite, Solar Bind, Fire Spirit, Status Trap, Track, Corrosive, Gleipnir, Spirit Vessel, Orchid, to name a few. You know, you get the picture. Against some heroes it can be really good to have Aghanims on Dazzle. Especially if you're against like a Silencer. The Global Silence, obviously you can use your heal, which is what you use with your Aghanim. It improves your heal. You can use that if you're silenced yourself. So what you want to do against a Silencer, you want to wait for the Global Silence, and then you want to instantly Guardian Grease, and then you can heal your entire team. You can do this in like half a second after the Global Silence. It completely messes up Silence as a hero, when you can just instantly dispel your entire team like this. The same thing about like Treant, Earth Spirit, Warlock, especially Warlock. Holy shit, you can just remove Fatal Bonds from your entire team. It's actually sick. And you can use it to remove Overgrowth from your entire team, Magnetize from your entire team. And obviously it's also good against Track and Corrosive Haste from Slaughter. So there's some potential. Sometimes I will go for the Aghanim. I think it's kind of good. But I think that's what I wanted to say about the items. Any other items I'm forgetting? Not sure, but anyway, you get the idea. This is the cooldown reduction and the greedy farming item to begin with allows you to do a lot of fun things with the items. So when it comes to neutral item, I wrote in sort of the priority I want them. Obviously I want Quickening Charm, Spell Prison, because that's what I need to do the Permagrave thing. But if I can't get that, I like some gold increase, Trusty Shovel or Philosopher's Stone. Trusty Shovel is really good on Dazzle because of all the cooldown reduction, so you can actually use it just to get more bounty runes for your entire team. And also you get a bunch of TPs, you're not going for travel, so you like that. And the healing cells are actually even good for after you've graved someone, and you wait 5.5 seconds, then you heal them, and then they're gonna survive a bit longer, they're gonna get out of the fight, then you can pop a salve on them, and then they're ready to go back in the fight with full HP. So it does have some merits. If I can't get that either, I'm gonna go for some extra cast range, Keen Optic, Psychic Bank, Telescope, and then some situational item. Essence Ring is, well, for the reason I just mentioned, it's really good. You can grave, and then you can wait 5.5 seconds, you can pop your Essence Ring, and people are not gonna expect you to survive this long. I see a lot of Dazzles like just blinking in, grave, heal, and then just move out. No, you really want to use the duration of your grave, and then in the very last second, that's when you pop the Guardian Greaves and heal, you know. Then I put in the Paladin Sword here. I almost didn't because it's only 14%. I think Holy Locket is 35%, so you know, maybe not the best item really. Flicker, however, is so fucking funny on Dazzle. Like, and then the other two, Trickster's Cloak and Ninja Gear, it's a little bit the same as the Flicker. It's because you want to be good at juking in the trees. So these two gives you Invis, very annoying to deal with you when you're Invis. Sometimes I even might consider getting a Shadow Blade, or maybe a what's the other called? A Glimmer Cape. But with the Shadow Blade, for example, you are Invis constantly. They can never see you on the map because you are literally always invis. The duration of the invis is higher than the duration of the cooldown on Shadowblade on Dazzle, which is so funny. But anyway, I'm just gonna show you Flicker real quick. Like, this is actually... Imagine you are a Storm Spirit or something like this, or a Night Stalker, and you're trying to hunt this Dazzle in the trees, but Dazzle has Flicker. And Flicker, with the items I usually go for, with Octarine and stuff like this, Flicker has 1.5 second cooldown. So they're trying to kill you, and you just keep doing this. They're actually gonna miss so many attacks. And you dispel stuff. You dispel like silence. You dispel a lot of things with Flicker. In a 1.5 second cooldown, it's so hard to actually kill a Dazzle who has some items like this and has Flicker. It's very good item on Dazzle. So I think that's... Well, we can just go over the tier 5s real quick. I'm not going to spend too much time here because, well, it's not often you're going to get to this point. But obviously, Seer, Stone, Pyro Head, Mirror Shield, Book of the Dead, Fallen Sky, Ex Machina. Very good items for a Dazzle also. Basically for all the reasons I already mentioned. So let's go to the next clip. I should mention that a lot of these clips, I just recently got back to Dota and I'm trying out this experimental build, so I decided to just have some fun, chill a bit at some pop games on my Smurf. So this is not Immortal, this is like, I think, ancient level Dota, most of these clips. There are definitely some Immortal players here, I remember. So there are some Immortal players, but like this Ricky, for example, was not using Cloud on me, maybe not Immortal. So... Grave TP is a thing you really have to remember if you play Dazzle. And remember, you can also save a teammate like this. And this requires some coordination from you and your teammate. Either you have to shout at them, "Oh, TP, 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 I can grave you." Or they have to write, "I'm TPing, grave me, grave me, grave me." So it's just a thing to think about. Anyway, I think we are just about done. I only have some funny clips left. But yeah, let's just run this clip. So this is just a nice unranked fun game with some friends, and Lycan for some reason turned me into a wolf, and I'm a Dazzle. You know, it's I don't mind being a wolf, but he could have also used the bite on this Legion commander with 460 damage from duel, 29 minutes into the game, by the way. So anyway, in conclusion, I think this build is strong. Like again, look at this shit. It's actually ridiculous, but it's not very often you're gonna get to this point. I mean, I got to this point like 1/4 of the games I played, but I was also like on a Smurf, and maybe this is gonna be a bit harder to get to this point in Immortal games and whatnot. But I don't know. I think it feels strong. And even if you don't get to this point where you can Permagrave, I think the build itself is just good. So I hear a lot of people saying that Dazzle is maybe the worst hero in Dota. I don't know. I heard a couple of pro players say that more than once. I think it's 49% win rate right now in this patch. But a lot of these people don't know how to play Dazzle on a high enough level. I mean, they haven't really played Dazzle enough to know how the hero really works. So, you know, this might be a bit deceiving. I think Dazzle is a strong hero, and I think it's a really, really funny hero as well. Anyway, I'll go into the last clip here. This clip, by the way, is... we're talking some Danish, and for some reason my voice did not get recorded. So I'm pretty sure you're gonna understand what's being said anyway. It's pretty obvious what's going on, but I might subtitle it later or something. I don't know. Anyway, the last thing I want to say before I leave you is, don't tell me that a Dazzle cannot kill creeps. Look at this. I'm on a Smurf, so you know, and my net worth is whatever. Don't look at the net worth. Just look at 300 last hits in 37 minutes. In this game, I believe I was a mid Dazzle, so that helps a bit, obviously. But the thing is, with this build, you farm so quickly because you're basically an anti-mage. You blink to a camp with 4 second cooldown, then you blink to another camp for 4 second cooldown. And unlike anti-mage, the blink is instant. So I think what is blink even? Blink on Dazzle with this build is like less than 4 seconds. I'm not even joking. If anti-mage has the Octarine. If anti-mage has the blink talent, it's not even gonna be as fast as this. I think anti-mage with the blink talent, that's 4-second cooldown, but then there's, you know, some animation and stuff on top of it. But if I have a blink dagger on a Dazzle with the build that I was talking about, so what am I missing? I'm missing the spell prism. nice inventory. So if I have a blink dagger, it's 4 seconds, 4.5 second cooldown. So okay, it's maybe basically the same. And with Arcane Blink, it's the same cooldown as well, in case anyone were curious. But it's still good. And I mean, 300 last hits in 37 minutes. And I even died 5 times. And then we spent some time pushing high ground. And now we spend some time trolling and stuff. You'll see in a minute. But it's just to say that Dazzle, with this build, he can really farm creeps. I'm not even joking. It's like anti-mage level of farm this is. Anyway, so this is where I leave you. I'm just going to run the last quip. So thank you all so much for watching. And I'm going to see you for the next video, which is going to be out in 4 years. Maybe sooner, I don't know. But see you guys.
Er du klar? Jeg går ind nu.
Det er så meget galt det her.
Jamen det er jeg da også ked af. Det var sgu da fordi Tegis hoppede ud.
Du skal bare gå derind og stå.
Bare gå derind og stå. Marker.
Er der mere?
Du skal ikke gå ud.
Okay. Grave min krop!
De har jo ikke nogen axe.
Skal jeg bare blive her?
Not so fast.
Og nu kommer du da helt klart på YouTube.
Var det med vilje eller fuck it op?
Jeg har ikke købt bacon for at gå back.
Hvorfor er du ikke stilmanden alligevel, kunne vi se?
Du er en fucking idiot, Daniel.
Det var level 1.